There's nothing like a teen girl loves more than like a guy with daddy. Verified.
Yeah, teen girls. Love you, Robin.
Hey, Upper East Siders and all you scandal-loving listeners out there. You just tuned into the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod, where the coffee is strong, the waffles are fresh, and the gossip is hotter than ever. My name is Leif, and I'm your seasoned Gossip Girl veteran.
And I'm Steve, your newbie, your greenhorn, I don't know, Leif, at this stage, what do we call the new kid on the block in Gossip Girl terms?
I'm not sure, but I think Blair could hear your desperation from the other room.
Well, it is pretty much pouring out loud and clear. So here's the deal, folks. Leif is seasoned veteran to Gossip Girl, and I am watching right now for the very first time. And the two of us are your dynamic duo, bringing you all the dirt, the scandals, and the sometimes questionable fashion choices of this iconic 2007 series.
That's right. Each week we're going to take a deep dive into the show, analyzing all the obscure references, hidden parallels, and of course the Couture catastrophes. And along the way, we're also going to take a look at some fandom stories and some behind-the-scenes gossip.
And since we're all about inclusivity here at the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod, there's always a seat for you at our non-judging breakfast table. So go ahead and grab your mimosa, your cup of coffee, or some of Nate and Chuck's special medicine if it's that kind of morning, and let's get into this.
Okay, Steve, we are not alone. Once again, we have a guest. We're back for the second time. The stupendous, the spectacular Shannon Kelly.
Hi, what an intro.
Yeah. Don't forget funny, too.
Yes. Yeah. Incredibly funny.
Shannon Kelly, funny girl.
Yeah.
Yes, be funny.
First member of the Two Timers Club.
Yeah. Welcome back to the show, Shannon. We're really glad to have you again.
I'm very happy to be here.
I'm pretty sure that we are recording this podcast, your second podcast, before we have played another session of your D&D game, though, too.
Yeah. Don't remind me. I'm more dedicated to this craft at the moment, okay?
The right move.
Yeah.
In fact, I think we're going to replace Steve with you.
Sorry. Women power. Yay.
So today we are here to talk about Season 2, Episode 10, Bonfire of the Vanity. The original air date was November 10th, 2008. And of course, this is a reference to the movie Bonfire at the Vanities.
Yeah, Bonfire of the Vanity.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I didn't see it. This was one of the really, really
Also
rare...
a novel by Tom Wolfe.
Yeah. It's one of the really rare movies that my dad's like, no, that's too grown up for you. So I never actually saw it, and I feel like you, yeah.
I think it came out when did it come out?
I think I was, didn't it come out like late 80s, early 90s?
Yeah.
I think I was under 15 when it came out.
I have never heard of this.
That's got, it's Tom Hanks, Bruce Willis, and Melanie Griffith.
Yeah, this was one of Tom Hanks' early films, too, if I remember correctly. Was it a comedy?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it meant to be funny?
It's got some funny parts.
Okay. Because, Tom Hanks wasn't really known for anything outside of comedy until, Castaway? Or was there something before that? Oh, no.
Big?
Well, that was a comedy.
What?
That was a comedy.
What, Castaway?
No, Big.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
No, I'm saying he was only known for comedy.
Oh, okay.
Until Philadelphia, I guess, was maybe his first big dramatic role. And then everyone was like, holy shit, he's got more than that. So that's why I was figuring this.
Then he did Forrest Gump right after that.
Yeah. He became like the serious actor at that point and was no longer locked into comedy.
But was Bonfire Vanities as dramatic as
I do not know. None of us have seen it. Have you seen it?
Nah.
no?
Only parts.
Yeah. I feel like I've probably seen clips.
So this episode was written by Jessica Queller. She is back. She previously wrote Roman Holiday, Blair Waldorf's Must High, and The Serena Also Rises. All good episodes.
Yeah.
Female power.
Yeah. And all three episodes also very important episodes, really. Especially the Roman Holiday and Blair Waldorf Must High.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like very pivotal episodes and very important. Yeah. So I mean, it adds up.
And very very Blair heavy episodes too.
Yeah.
Even though I was Serena in the title, was really a Blair episode.
Yeah. True.
And then it was directed by David Von Anken. This is his first and only time on Gossip Girl, but he has been directing TV mostly from 2001 until present. Californication, bunch of procedurals.
Yeah.
Nothing really stands out too much.
Yeah. And honestly, it's no big notes on the directing one way or another.
It's just kind of generic.
Yeah. It felt like a very regular episode. You get some good performances out of people, but they were also the people that you always get good performances out of. Looking at you, Margaret Collins. Margaret. Yeah, looking at you, Margaret Collins.
We got the Jacobs television without pity recap lit here. So Serena / Aaron's pretty much non-starter this week, since they just go around and around having the same fight as last week. Aaron is a giant whore, and the same resolution as every week of the show ever. This is somehow Serena's fault. On the other hand, we got to hear the best song of all time, Sex on Fire by the Kings of Leon, twice, several months later than this usually on point show gives us new tunes. Not that I'm grateful for the chance to listen to it one more time, and more importantly, wasn't Cyndi Lauper on the soap opera hawking that same song on that one soap opera with the awesome gay dudes like 6 years ago? How of the moment, Gossip Girl. Anyway, lots of pretty pictures of Serena, no interesting dialogue, the manufactured sexiness, running through the Central Park in your underwear, lots of awesome music and crane shots. I take it back. That's exactly what dating Serena Vanderwoodson would look like.
Jenny and Agnes wait a whole 17 seconds before turning on each other like coke-fueled rabid kittens, and while it's adorable, and we get to see both of them go completely effing nuts, together and separately, like 4 deliriously awesome times each, Jenny's constant attempts to go roguely adult don't really scratch Agnes's itch. She ends up setting all of Jenny's designs on fire. Jenny gets minorly suicidal, tries to go into business for herself, is brutally rebuffed, and spends the night crying like a lunatic in an alley before pulling it together and getting herself emancipated.
I'm torn as to which of the other stories I adored more. I usually tell you in order, but this time I just don't know. Blair's interactions with Eleanor's boyfriend, Aaron's dad, are twisty delicious, but on the other hand, Dan Humphrey made me cry. You know what? That's embarrassing enough that we're going there. Dan is put by Noah Shapiro into the position of doing Bart Bass expose for Recapper beloved New York Magazine, and dutifully tries to get some dirt. When he happens onto bigger dirt than he was expecting, he has several moral meltdowns in a row before pulling possibly the greatest move in the history of the show. In an apology for digging up shit, including, for real, Bart's real estate-related manslaughter arson from the 80s, he gives up all his notes to Bart and includes the Charlie Trout short story. He's the only person on Earth with the means and opportunity to heal Chuck's relationship with his father, so he just fucking does it. Brooklyn, I heart you tonight. It feels weird.
Blair is all excited about meeting Eleanor's new man because Cyrus Rose evokes images of Cary Grant, but what she gets is Wallace Shawn. This causes her to go berserk, So while she's busily shitting all over Serena's relationship as usual, she has to also break up Cyrus and Eleanor. She takes him to dinner to dig for dirt, falls kind of totally in love with his weird little ass, but then gets pushed by her bitch mother yet again into ignoring the angels of her better nature, and she uses the story to break them up. All this takes place with the amazing ceiling camera setup that makes him look like an actual hobbit, craning his neck up to talk to everybody. Of course, Cyndi Lauper shows up on Blair's 18th birthday party to remind Blair how much she actually adores him. And then he locks it down by admitting that he manipulated Blair into giving up all her ammo on the first go. We call that forced perspective. This gaming by the dwarf is, of course, catnip for Blair, and she agrees to an uneasy truce that is translated from Blair's language, means they are BFF. Of course, her many quick changes of heart are rewarded the next morning when Eleanor announces he's moving in that very day. Happy birthday, Blair Bear. You get a weird little Sicilian dad and Aaron Bobby for a brother. XOXO. Next week, Nate and who cares what else? That was fun.
Yeah. Inconceivable special guest in this episode.
Yes.
That's going to come up a few times, probably. There's probably going to be a few references.
No, and that's
not enough.
Conceivable.
I wanted to actually, because Wallace Shawn is on this.
Did you just call me Sean?
Because Wallace Shawn is on this episode. It's not always about you, Shannon.
Narcissist, I'm so sorry. Self-proclaimed narcissist.
He was just recently. There was an interview with Preston and Steve in the latest Philadelphia magazine. Preston and Steve, if you're listening from anywhere that's not in Philadelphia, are radio personalities, and they were talking. They were asked what their worst interviews were. Their first one was Wayne Brady. They said he was just a dick. But the other one that they said was Wallace Shawn, that they were expecting like this like classic comedy guy, like this really funny dude, and he just was a really flat interview apparently. So yeah. But we would still like to invite Wallace Shawn to come on an episode and discuss your role on Gossip Girl. Yeah. I would love to prove Preston and Steve
is definitely
wrong.
One of the great recurring characters in Gossip Girl.
Yeah, and I mean, who doesn't fucking love Wallace Shawn?
Not enough.
No.
Not enough. We move into Act 1. Gossip Girl is again silent. The episode opens at the Humphrey Loft as Dan and Rufus are discussing Jenny's new living arrangement.
Yeah.
No Gossip Girl at the beginning.
No. Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't even catch that. That's weird. Because it doesn't happen often. It's only happened one other time.
It's only the second time I think this happened.
Yeah. More Courtney Love than June Cleaver was my only note for this. I loved that.
Yeah. Talking about Agnes's mom.
Agnes's mom, yeah.
Yes. The minions are back. Blair is making plans for her 18th birthday. Sounds like Eleanor has a new boyfriend. Serena is still distracted by the whole Aaron situation.
I like the line from one of the minions. She goes like, even moms have boyfriends. It's like, yeah.
There's a running theme throughout the episode that, well, I think it's just a theme that none of them have boyfriends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been back to season 1.
Yeah.
Because remember, that was like Jenny was going to get a boyfriend because no one else could get a boyfriend.
For
some reason. I guess these girls are just so insufferable. Yeah. I mean, they're attractive enough to have boyfriends.
Like, they're super attractive and super rich. Yeah. How insufferable do you need to be? But
to turn off high school boys. Or maybe Asher's just leading all the lacrosse team in orgies in the locker room. Yeah. Jenny and Agnes are meeting with a business manager, but Agnes is cray-cray.
Oh, God. Jenny in this, like, she's so professional. And I mean, I guess it's unprofessional to like disagree with the person you're doing the interview with, like with your partner in front of the guy. But it's like her answers are so on point. And then like Agnes is
all over the place.
What are you doing?
Yeah. And like, why didn't you rehearse your pitch? And like, this isn't your first pitch. So why haven't you worked this shit out in between all of these other pitches? Like, why are we watching this meltdown at this point, you know?
I have a feeling they did, and then just Agnes is going off book.
Yeah.
Immediately.
And I think that's kind of my point. And like my other note here is just how dumb is Agnes? Because like you are blowing this thing up. Like how fucking idiotic is it to just be here and like blowing up on this person, on your partner in front of the person you're trying to get to fund you?
Yeah, it's
like,
sabotage.
I mean, yeah. I think it's a bad picture of mental. I think they're just trying to do. It's a bad portrait of mental health.
I think
they're just trying to show, this girl's clearly unstable.
Yeah. I think you're very right. I just think that the execution.
Yeah.
I think that the execution of Agnes in this episode and like we kind of saw that she was like maybe a little bit of the bad girl, whatever, but like the total no longer like a good partner anymore in this was an abrupt.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like she like sold Jenny a dream in the like episodes prior, and then it was like she was going to be this like promising partner, and then she does do a complete 180. Yeah, it's interesting that you guys are saying like mental illness, because that I didn't register that while I was watching it. I really liked her justification actually after the interview when they're kind of like going at it with one another, and she says, "We're artists, we're passionate." Like I thought that was like a smart writing justification anyway.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they could have done something before this where they showed like, oh, Agnes is just using Jenny.
Yeah.
Which was,
they could have set that up in like one scene. Like, you know.
But if she's gonna like use her to her own advantage and not self-sabotage, like Agnes shouldn't go to the interviews.
But I think they're trying to show someone who is mentally unstable, but she's doing a very poor job of it.
Yeah, and I kind of had that same sort of like,
she's
they
a crazy
want
woman.
her to be,
Oh my god,
they want her to be explosive I just thought that this was a bad scene to do it in. You know?
I mean, she literally says, "I am crazy." At one point,
she does. Yeah,
you're Brian. I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Blair is excitedly talking to her mother about Eleanor's new boyfriend while Dorota prepares for his arrival. However, when Cyrus arrives, he is clearly not what Blair expected.
First of all, why does it matter to Blair that like her mom's boyfriend is attractive?
I mean, it shouldn't, but Blair's all about image, so I totally get it.
Yeah.
I don't think that it going with that, I don't think it's like attractive to her that she wants to be attracted to them. She wants her mom and stepdad to look good next to each other.
Exactly.
I don't know. I felt like a little creeped out by in the scene prior when she's like, "Oh, like my mom has always had good taste in men." It's
have that written down. I do actually have that in the earlier scene. She's too excited about getting a stepdad. Yeah.
But yeah, I also like. I think "not enough" is a risky catchphrase. I just want to point that out. Like, it's cute at first, you know. It's like, oh, like give me a hug. Not enough, you know. Like maybe he's around like cooking dinner. It's like, oh, like, you throw in a little garlic. Not enough. And then like one day it's his birthday. You get him this like sweet, thoughtful, really like promising present, and he opens it up and he's. You're cheating on me? Am I not enough for you?
What do you think? Where have you been? I also loved the line when she goes, "Dorota, are you insane?" I don't know.
I don't know. I like that one too.
Dorota is amazing.
You're so honest.
Yeah. And like, just like, so why did I don't know?
Like she went to like a different place.
Yeah.
Chuck is trying to bond with his father, but Bart completely blows him off. Poor Chuck.
Such a cold line, like a nice thought, but misguided, as usual.
Just being a dick to be a dick.
Yeah. It's like, how can I crush my son today?
How can we make the audience feel sorry for Chuck more?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculously and the fact that he immediately wants to go with Dad.
Yeah.
There's nothing like a teen girl loves more than like a guy with daddy. Verified.
Yeah, teen girls. Love you, Robin.
Dan is meeting with Shapiro to get his letter of recommendation. However, that letter also comes with a job offer that involves investigating Bart Bass. Apparently, writing a short fiction qualifies one to become an undercover investigative reporter. I mean, yeah, I wrote a couple short stories, so I'm an undercover reporter now.
Yeah,
For the New Yorker.
for the New Yorker. What? Who in their right fucking mind goes to a teenager and is like, "Hey, you used to date. You're his stepdaughter's ex-boyfriend. Can you dig up some dirt for us?"
You're friends with his
The
son.
way he says it, he does say it like a writer. That he's like, "You dated the stepdaughter, son." It's so weirdly worded.
We get a needle drop as Sex on Fire by the Kings of Leon plays as Serena is standing in Times Square and sees herself on one of the big screens. Aaron shows up and asks Serena to pose for him. Then they make out in front of everyone in Times Square to see right up on the big screen.
What?
So creepy.
Yeah.
I literally wrote barf.
And like right down to the fucking Kings of Leon song, right down to Sex on Fire being like their new theme song. And like,
I feel like I have too much to say about this.
And it gets creepier. This is even the creepier.
yeah, this is, well, I mean,
It
like,
does.
yeah, but like, yeah, hey, can you meet me in Times Square? And hey, just look around, because guess who else is looking at you? Everyone.
Of course, Serena would love that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been to Times Square, but it is actually factually like the point on the Earth's surface that is closest to hell. And it like there's no way this scene completely broke any suspension of disbelief that I have, because Times Square, there's no way, first of all, that you can afford to put a live stream of an image of your girlfriend like on one of those televisions. And then there's no way the crowd would just like walk by like, no big deal. Like everybody would be photobombing that.
My only, when I saw him have her up there, I'm under the impression that part of Aaron's like art is like computer savvy and shit like that it was somehow a hack thing. That he somehow, that was my impression. That
I thought about that. Also, he is super rich.
And he is super rich.
Because he is from the Upper West. And he went to summer camp in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Right out loud.
Yeah, and his dad is a corporate lawyer on the
lawyer.
An entertainment lawyer.
Yeah.
But he was also one of Eleanor's lawyers.
For the divorce proceeding.
Yeah. Oh, for the divorce, that's right.
Which is also weird.
Yeah, why would he be?
Yeah.
Why? Well,
Don't think about it. Don't think about it.
Aaron did have two lines in the scene as well that like also made me throw up in my mouth, which was the first one was like, "I've shown you the most beautiful places I know, and now I'm showing them you," which is awful. And then after, like, she's like, "Oh my God, we're on the screen. How'd you do it?" He's like, "This is nothing. I want you to pose for me."
But apparently Gossip Girl likes it because Spotted, S&A, brings sexy back to Times Square. Move over Disney. 42nd Street is steaming up.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Why Disney? Why move over Disney? I don't get it.
I think the
Just
Disney
taken
offices
over.
are used to be in Times Square.
Well, at around that time, Times Square was like, right before that, Times Square was like a porn hub. Like you could just, it was all like sex shops and porn shops. And then New York had this big effort to clean it up. And so in order to clean it up, Disney basically bought out Times Square, and like there's all kinds of Disney shit there now.
I actually get it now.
That
Okay,
makes
so
sense.
like, yeah,
That's
S&A
actually
are
clever.
bringing, it is kind of clever
Yeah.
now, because they're bringing the porn back. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey there, scandal-loving listeners. Did you ever wonder if there was a way you could support your favorite Gossip Girl podcast? Well, now there is. Just visit patreon.com/nonjudgingbreakfastpod. There are 4 tiers to choose from. Come claim your spot at the non-judging breakfast table by visiting patreon.com/nonjudgingbreakfastpod.
And we move into Act 2. At school, Blair and Serena have a conversation about Cyrus, who is a hugger, and it has a catchphrase. Serena is still on cloud 9 because of her date with Aaron.
Okay, I was telling Steve on the way down here, like, I researched something for this, because, like, I knew a little bit about it, but then I went down a rabbit hole, but, like, Blair says to her something about, like, oh, like you don't want to be his muse, or she says, like, oh, I can be his muse, and, like, I can be his lover and muse to famous artists, like Picasso. There's lots of women who have done it. Picasso, like, beat the shit out of all of his, like, girlfriends and wives. Like, he was, like, a terrible human being. It's like, Serena, bad example.
Actually,
someone doesn't understand art.
Yeah. I actually wrote down one of Blair's quotes for the scene. Serena, a guy starts out in his blue period and everything is great, but it's only a matter of time before he's into cubism and it's another girl's eye coming out of her forehead.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, truly. That was great. She also refers to Cyrus as a gnome in this scene.
Yeah. Well, he's first villain. That's why he's got the charisma boost.
We were talking about our super niche D&D references on the way up here.
Only for our listeners who both like Gossip Girl and Dungeons and Dragons, you know?
Yes. They're peppered throughout.
We're trying to expand our base.
Yeah.
Dan gets an interview with Bart by flattering Bart and putting his own dad down. Not only that, but Dan gets to shadow Bart for 2 days a week. Dan is like a super master manipulator here.
Yeah.
Yeah, throwing Rufus under the bus like that.
And he saw how that lit Bart's eyes up. He loved that.
Yeah, like he and Dan knew it.
Yeah.
I kind of wish the writers had leaned into that more. Like, I feel like they made Bart a little too gullible in this entire episode, and like they kind of pushed him into like buying Dan's stuff. And if they made it more petty and about like him wanting to get at Rufus, I would have dug that if they like leaned into that.
I do wish that there was a little bit more, but
but Dan has superpowers apparently.
Yeah.
As we'll see it in an upcoming scene.
And it's also really funny because he uses his dad in this scene as bait, and his dad earlier in this episode says, in the first scene with the two of them, he says, "I know you don't approve of this," and he says, "I don't believe in using people to get what you want." And so now he's using his dad to get what he wants. And also, like, in doing that, he's also like, my dad was, his music never took off, his whatever, and like kind of throws that under the bus. And in that earlier scene, it also is paralleled because he's like, it's a good thing you're a musician and not an actor.
Yeah.
Because, and there is that part of me that when he said the thing about I don't believe in using people, and I do have this kind of belief that most of the people that you look up to that are musicians and stuff like that got there by being shitty at some point or another to other people. Mm-hmm. And maybe Rufus never did the shitty thing to stab someone in the back to really take his career where it could have gone,
We already kind of established that he quit because of his kids. He like we just saw he turned down another tour. He's got to tour the college stadium tour.
Yeah, that's why he resents Jenny.
Yeah.
Dan could have handled it on his own, but
Jenny is freaking out on Agnes for flaking out, but Agnes is hungover and couldn't care less. When Agnes leaves to go to sleep it off, Jenny goes behind her back to try and make a solo meeting with the business manager from earlier.
This was the first time Robin noticed the vitamin water. Robin was like, does vitamin water sponsor this episode? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, they sponsor the show. They pop up a lot.
Yeah, another pyramid of vitamin water.
Yeah.
For the record, throughout this episode, I completely back Jenny, like backing herself. Like I completely support it, and I like am in her corner.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree completely.
Yeah.
Bart is inviting Dan to the Rangers game that he had zero interest going to with Chuck back in Act 1. Chuck enters the room and has his cold black heart broken yet again.
It's such a dick move.
I have no time for games with you, Chuck. But my new son, my new son, I can take half.
My chosen son.
The son I choose that. Eric's not available.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh my
it's so blatantly manipulative.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like he's trying to hurt Chuck's feelings.
It's actively trying to hurt Chuck's feelings just to get the audience on Chuck's side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, the writers are trying.
Yeah,
to
the
do
writers
it,
are trying to just bury Chuck. But also, I love how Chuck is like, wait a second. Like, what's Dan Humphrey doing here? I love, and then we get like the Batman look as he like puts together like, this shouldn't be happening.
Cyrus gets Eleanor tickets to see Cyndi Lauper during Blair's party, but suddenly Blair desperately wants Eleanor at her first grown-up party. B, maybe you should start acting like a grown-up and people will treat you like one?
Savage.
I mean, yeah. I actually don't have any notes on that because I think Eleanor did everything that was needed to be done in that scene.
Why would you want to go to your kid's 18th? Why would she want you?
Well, yeah, why? I never wanted my parents. I didn't want my parents at my younger parties. Like,
Jenny is once again meeting with the manager, this time without Agnes. However, the manager tells her she will need her parents' signature because she is under 18.
Isn't Agnes 17? They established in an earlier episode that Agnes is 17.
She might already be emancipated.
Or her
But she
mom
lives with
would
her
have
mom.
signed the papers maybe, and now Jenny on her own. Yeah. The guy did confirm in the scene, though. He was like, oh, like, she's like, I'm working on my own now, and he's like, glad to hear it. He was like,
And
oh.
also, he thought she was over 18, too.
Yeah. Ugh. And then I love how he's just like, oh, we just need your
Oh,
parents to sign the papers. It's like,
Huh?
what papers?
No, the papers, Shannon.
The papers.
The papers.
The writers are just like,
I think he said incorporation papers, didn't he?
no, I checked. He just says I'm
Oh,
pretty
wow.
sure he just says the papers.
It takes me back to the Muppet movie, the first Muppet movie, where it's like we would like the rich and famous contract, and they're like, here you go.
Aaron is preparing to photograph and then possibly murder Serena.
What?
This seriously looks like a kill room from Dexter.
Yeah, yeah.
It does, yeah.
And he starts taking the pictures, and she's like, "What do you want me to do to me?" Like I'm thinking like a dude, and especially like me in my 20s with an art as an art. Like if I was trying to pull the shit that Aaron is trying to pull, the words "try less" and "try nothing at all" don't sound like directions to me. They sound more like requests for what he wants her modeling.
Yeah, the only feedback he gave her was don't cover your face, and then I could like feel her if you are photographing a model, like you want them to feel comfortable, and I could feel how uncomfortable. I felt uncomfortable the whole scene. Anytime he's on camera, I feel uncomfortable.
He's so fucking creepy.
He's so
Yeah.
creepy. Every scene he's in, my note is barf.
Yeah. Dan isn't the only one doing some investigating. We see Chuck has trailed Dan to the New York Magazine, where it just so happens there's an intern that Chuck presumably slept with.
Wait, Steve, can you help me understand this? This is another Gossip Girl quote that I didn't understand, because she goes like, did Brooklyn Boy think he could bury the bone in the backyard and no one would find it? Every bass will have his day. I'm like, mixing metaphors or?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The first one is obviously, he can bury, the dog, buries the bone. That's the old cartoons.
I just didn't know if every bass will have his day is like connected to.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that they just didn't know how to finish that thought.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I have my note is that you can't out Chuck.
Serena arrives at the apartment the next day and enters his creepy shrine to her. Things appear to be progressing to sexy times when Aaron's next model shows up and puts Serena in the metaphorical cold shower.
He's such a fucking creep. And he's an even bigger creep for not having a conversation about his polyamory ahead of time. And like, I know we haven't gotten there yet, but like when someone else shows up and after you've been like doing all this creepy shit, and then it's like,
Yeah, she was like a little bit cringe and saying like, I thought modeling was our thing, like right in front of the girl.
yeah.
Like cool.
Yeah.
But that's the whole reason why Serena likes on those because she can be the muse.
Yeah, I did kind of I had a little I identified with Serena in the scene because she does the thing of she's feeling insecure about something, so she just says it out loud. She's like, "Oh my god, I should be cool and mysterious and stop talking." And it's like, kiss, yay!
Dan gets a mysterious email to meet someone who claims to have info on Bart. He's on the job one day, and people are sending him.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, how did this guy find Dan?
Yeah, and how is that not suspicious to you, Dan? Which is my note for when they actually meet up. Is why, whoa, someone's just reaching out to me, even though absolutely no one on fucking earth knows I'm doing this.
Yeah. Blair is complaining to Eleanor about Cyrus at breakfast, but Eleanor is glowing with quote-unquote love, is hearing none of it. When Eleanor leaves to get ready for her date, Blair tells Dorota that it's time for a scheme. That was Grace Kelly.
Yep.
Yeah, I am Grace Kelly. Grace Kelly is me. And then, done with it.
She didn't mention this in this scene, but the thing with Blair is her Grace Kelly and her Grace Jones. I hear the dark sides are Grace Jones. Dan is meeting with the tipster who is surprised at Dan's age. The man claims Bart committed arson and insurance fraud in order to build his empire.
Yeah, this was a stupid, unbelievable scene. In addition to the Times Square one.
Yeah, and where it's unbelievable is that Dan fucking believed it. This guy is and we'll get to this too, that the information is accurate. So Chuck gave Dan this guy, clearly this was orchestrated by Chuck, right? This guy reaching out to Dan. I can only assume.
No, I don't think that.
I did not think that.
I think it was just Dan is superpowered journalist. He's good at everything.
Okay, all right. I actually got the impression that this was Chuck's scheme of I'm going to out him by getting him to go and
That's an interesting interpretation. I kind of wish the writers did do something like that.
But I really think it was just Dan is the superhero.
Yeah, I think it's literally nobody on Earth knows. You're right. Nobody knows. And so your explanation made more sense. Yeah. But at the end of the day, nobody knows. And he somehow met up with this guy.
By my experience with these writers, I think they were just kind of saying, Dan is just really good at things.
Yeah.
I knew what you're working on, but not that you're 18.
but now that we've had this discussion, it makes me just lose even more respect.
But that is kind of funny that you thought that.
Yeah, I mean, because would anyone put it past Chuck?
No,
Chuck. It's not like Chuck to go after his dad if he thinks he can clearly patch it up, and that's why I went there.
I love that your brain came up with an explanation that the writers were too lazy to tell.
Dan is telling Rufus about the story, who advises Dan to be cautious with releasing the info as Serena and Lily could get hit in the crossfire. Their conversation is interrupted when Rufus gets a call from Allison regarding Jenny.
My note for Rufus this entire episode, wrong and strong.
So yeah, this is kind of interesting. I was thinking about this today, or last night when I watched the episode. The show is kind of retconning reality. They're saying the moral thing is to bury this, huge crime that happened.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The moral thing is to hide this huge crime.
Yeah.
So they are retconning reality.
Okay,
right now.
I was trying to understand my note for a second. Now I'm remembering the scene that this is where Dan and Rufus are talking. Rufus is like, "You're gonna ruin that whole family."
Yeah.
And it's
at this point, it's just arson and insurance fraud.
Right.
But we're gonna find out that it's also manslaughter.
Yeah. and I'm saying if Bart's an arsonist, right? Why is Rufus just
protecting
him? Yeah.
I guess you could make the argument that this is then my brain correcting for the writer's mistake. It's maybe it's because he still loves Lily and he's trying to protect her, but it's he comes across as just Dan. No, this is not the moral thing to do. Think about their family. And it's if the family comes under fire, it's Bart's fault, not your son's.
Yeah, and also, I mean, Yeah, it'd be tough for a little while for Lily, but she would get through it. She's not involved in this at all.
And how tough would it be for Lily? Lily is not.
She would be in the press for a few months.
Yeah, but she wouldn't be. But financially, she wouldn't.
Well, yeah,
face
that's what I'm
anything.
saying. She would get through it, but it would be a tumultuous few months while she's in the press and whatnot.
Yeah, which
she would hate.
Which here's another the writers probably didn't think of it. Theory on it though is with that he loves her because Rufus is really telling his kids don't use people to get what you want. Don't use people to get what you want. So he can't really say, oh, but publish that story because then that's going to give him what he wants, a single Lily. So maybe there's a little bit of I can't now tell my kid to go do the thing that's going to give me what I want after telling him that that's bad. But also, I don't think that that's what it is.
Yeah, my brain, it just keeps snowballing because now my brain is well, maybe his head fell off after they got married, and now he just has no sense of right and wrong. He's just taking it out on his kids. He's just angry all the time.
Yeah, I mean, well, and we discuss often about how he parents his children different.
Yeah, and in season 2.
Yeah. And how Dan is, and here he does give Dan the tough love when Dan's doing things that he doesn't.
Oh, you mean he parents Jenny and Dan?
Yeah, then he parents.
Sure.
And then Jenny, it's I'm gonna shit on your dreams every step of the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So also with this scene, going back to our conversation from last week, Steve, where we were disagreeing on whether Dan ratted out Jenny.
Right.
It's Dan and Jenny are clearly still close because she's still calling and talking to Dan.
Yeah.
So even if he did, it was more of a situation where he just got caught and he couldn't lie right to Rufus's face.
Well, and that was my impression.
And she didn't blame him.
Yeah, that was my impression. But you're right. She doesn't blame him. So
Blair is at a restaurant with Cyrus, pumping him for information. Cyrus reveals a story about falling in love with another woman while overseas in the military. Even though the woman died, he still divorced his wife when he returned home.
He sure did. Now, he met this other person in Vietnam, which ended in 1975.
We're going to do math.
So that means that he was married, that the latest that he could have met the Golden Lion, right? Golden Lion, that was what she called her, is 1975. So that means he was married in 1975, and he came home and divorced his wife. So that would have seemed that he would be divorced no later than 1976, which puts Aaron's birthday about 15 years before Serena's. At a minimum. At a minimum. She would be born in 1990 if she's 17 now.
Maybe he's just on his 10th college degree.
And he's graduating. He's no longer in school.
Okay.
They've said that he went to college.
God, he's even creepy.
Yeah. So unless something comes out that he's from a different marriage, then he would have.
I don't think it's ever confirmed or denied that Cyrus said otherwise or not.
So
in the interim,
8 plus 15 is 23. So she was 8 and he was 23 when they were married with their little licorice rings that he kept. For another 9 years.
Oh boy.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one of my notes too was and when it gets revealed that he's Aaron's father, I was like, why?
Yes.
We didn't need that. That didn't need to happen. And now we have even more reason why.
It's because of the book.
They've deviated. They kept Ed Westwick around. They can deviate from the books here.
But I mean, that's for the characters that they stole the names from the book characters. So I don't know why they decided to do that.
Yeah, and it felt very much like the a throwback to the laziness of the Duchess and Marcus. Yeah.
They happen to be related.
Yeah. Oh, and they're related now too. And it was just such a throwaway. He's my son, and he's been doing this. We'll get to that.
I feel like I came into this recording not really with the mindset of the writing was really lazy this whole episode. Now, it was.
It really was. I didn't catch it.
We've convinced me.
Yeah, my grade on paper is now going down.
I think it is. Mine is as well.
Yeah. Mine has definitely dropped quite a bit now that we're like really finding a lot of this.
Yeah,
Like,
one thing I do like about the scene that I did like is that again Leighton's acting is so good. She barely has any lines, and the way that she goes from fake scheming, like interested in what he's saying, to like actually like dreamy eyed over what he was saying. It's just
she's like she's bored that she finds something she can use and she locks right in.
I also think, because Blair's a romantic, I feel like she did in her heart have like that's a sweet story. Like I did get that vibe from her. And I think that the whole thought is, this really is a sweet story that I could use to advantage. Because we also really see that like Cyrus really is like a loving, very pragmatic, but also very heartfelt and loving guy. And I have the note that he felt true love, but not high adventure. Which is Princess Bride.
Yeah. Serena calls Aaron to invite him out on a date, but finds out that he's still hanging out with Danielle.
One of Serena's favorite places is the old puppet theater in Central Park.
Sure.
It's probably one of his, too. I mean, he's probably taken many dates to the puppet show in Central Park.
8 years old.
Probably fucking the puppet.
The poor puppeteer gets to his house. He's like, "Did you bring him? Go get him. Go get him. Well, I'm not here for you."
I'm glad that you both agree about Aaron because we had not talked about this. Yeah.
Also, my note here is Serena. He's banging other women.
Looks like B's prophecy came true. One day you're the muse, the next day you're old news.
Eleanor knows her kid. Wait. Am I in the right place? Never mind. I skipped the scene.
Eleanor confronts Blair about her lunch with Cyrus. Blair reveals that Cyrus cheated on his ex-wife. This has the desired effect because without context, it devastates Eleanor.
Yeah. First of all, I love that Eleanor just knows her kid so fucking well.
Yeah.
She knows her so well. But also, like, without the context of, like, he had an affair in the 70s with his ex-wife.
Yeah.
Like, it was the 70s.
Well, I don't think the time would have affected that. I think it was more of the fact that he never loved the first wife.
Well, that too. Yeah, it really
kind of like a marriage of convenience when he's about to ship off to war.
Yeah. There is but yeah, I think that there's a bunch of things here that are like that make the context very important.
But I don't think the 30 years would have mattered to Eleanor at all.
No, I could see that. I think I get you there.
The business manager's assistant makes the blunder of the episode when she calls Agnes's phone, trying to reach Jenny. Agnes, learning of Jenny's betrayal, goes ballistic. This fucking assistant.
Yeah.
Is this where the dress is burned?
No, this is just...
Yes, this is where she finds out.
Yeah, okay.
The assistant tries to call Jenny, but, I must have mixed up your phone numbers.
Gotcha. Yeah. Oh, God.
Well, and...
No, Jenny, I think, called from Agnes's phone.
No, she says, I must have mixed up your phone numbers.
She does say that, but I think that we're supposed to believe that it's because she did steal the number. She goes into Agnes's phone. She did use Agnes's phone to make the
writing for the show again.
So
Yeah, I don't know.
And then we move into Act 3. At Blair's party, the minions are desperate for Dick. Serena is depressed about Aaron. Blair forces her way to comfort Serena.
I love when the one minion is like about Aaron and Serena. Like, he totally loves you. And Blair just side-eye. Side-eye.
I did a quick double take because for a second I thought the waiter was Tom Felton.
Oh, no.
Do you know who that is?
No.
I don't.
Draco Malfoy.
Oh.
Now I have to watch it back.
Was it not him? Or
No, it's just some goofy-looking blind kid.
Contest winner.
Probably. Yes. Jenny arrives back at Agnes's place to find Agnes carrying Jenny's dresses outside. She proceeds to throw them into the metal trash can, douse them with lighter fluid before setting them ablaze. Jenny is forced to watch in horror as her dreams literally go up in smoke. Not only that, that Jenny is running out of places to stay.
Yeah, okay, so here we have the dress burning.
I want to teach Jenny 2 fighting moves. One is a good, but the other one is just...
Or just slap it out of her hand.
Yeah, or just slap that shit out of her hand. Jenny should have fucked her up. Jenny should have thrown some fucking punches at that point.
Yeah, I felt like her as an actress, like you could feel it. Like I think everybody watching that feels that way. It's like, oh, come on, like do something, like push her, like you would actually like fight this girl. But it's like I think she played off what she was probably like told to do,
directed,
in terms of crying. Yeah. So like I was willing to kind of like set that aside for now, because to me this is like ignoring the fact that she didn't try to like push Agnes away. This is the most traumatic scene in the entire show for me personally. Like,
it is
I really love Jenny's season 2 arc, and I feel like I love this idea of somebody being undeniable at something. It's it's like you don't just have a hobby, you have a craft, like you're an artist. And the idea of like a young person being undeniable at something, and then wanting, like, having like a life calling that's beckoning them,
and just having it there and having it right there, and it's literally going up in flames.
And like I would cry if somebody deleted my save of Baldur's Gate 3. Like I can't imagine my life's work going up in flames. Like
my other note on this scene was the bad pyro. Was that she sprays the stuff on, drops the match in, and then there's like a tiny little flame, and there's like a it all goes up. Like, come on, hit the fucking button.
I think Agnes in the scene actually does make good points in terms of like how she is valuable to their partnership, and like the connections that she's gotten her at the Gorilla like fashion show, like all that stuff. But it's like, it is still Jenny's designs. Like she is the designer. You are like, it's her work. It should have her name on it. Those dresses do not belong to you, Agnes. But I do, in terms of like, if I were to compare Georgina Sparks,
she should probably get 50% of the money though.
That's like fine, but like it still should be under Jenny's control.
But she should be. Jenny should definitely be guiding it.
Yeah, and I would
actually say 40.
I do like comparing like Agnes to Georgina Sparks. I think Agnes is a much better crazy, even though it's still like, okay, we have a crazy girl. But I do just love Jenny being like, are you insane? And like you said earlier, her just being like, yes, yes, I'm insane.
Will Holland. Back at the party, Serena meets Cyrus, who turns out to be Aaron's dad. Cyrus comes to Serena to give Cyrus convinces Serena to give Aaron yet another chance. WTF, Serena.
First of all, why do they need to be related? We kind of talked about that.
Yeah.
Why?
But the other thought that I had was where she's like, you know what? I'm going to go to him right now.
I have that written down too.
But like, you're his dad. Does his dad not know that he bangs like half of the like bangs all these models? Because like that's really bad wingmanship if you do know, to be like, yeah, go on, visit him. I'm sure there's no one there right now. Like,
yeah, my note was more so like, why does Serena, every time Serena learns something about Aaron, she just drops whatever she's doing? Like, I'm so sorry, I have to go. Like, stop, you had plans.
Honestly though, now that you mention that, Serena does that all the time throughout this entire show. Has just, whenever she gets that one text, it's just like, you know what? I'm good here. I'm going to that. Like, she does that all the time. Because she actually does it like...
it's definitely a meme.
Yeah. Is it really?
Yeah, I gotta go.
I wish I was that, like, confident and, like, bye.
Yeah.
So on this rewatch, I caught something. Now, this is somewhat spoiler, but, Wallace Shawn's character is recurring throughout the series. And for pretty much a fan, I'm like, him and Dorota are like kind of like the two kind of flawless characters in fandom. But watching this here, he totally gaslights Serena in this scene.
Think?
Like, yeah, because like he's like, oh, she's like totally like right, that feeling that he's, Aaron's totally sleeping with other people, and like, oh, he must really like you, and blah blah blah, and.
Yeah, I guess like the way I think of their whole thing is like, I don't feel like Aaron and Serena haven't committed to each other, and like if I was at that age in high school, I would be just as upset as her, and I would feel like gross about the whole thing. But as an adult, it's like you do kind of like, some people do date like multiple people at the same time, and you're getting to know multiple people and figuring out who's right for you. So it's like it's the writers like threw this weird adult concept on this like teenage character. But he might actually genuinely like Serena, and maybe Cyrus has picked up on that.
I agree with that, but I feel like he's trying to tell her what to feel.
Yeah.
I
think that
he's totally wingmanning for his son.
He is wingmanning for his son.
And like on the one hand, I don't think that the concept of wingmanning for your kid is necessarily in and of itself bad. Like I talk my kid up to his girlfriend, that. I don't think that is a bad thing. I think that if you know your kid is polyamorous and you're sending somebody who doesn't know and you're saying, no, but he really likes you, without also giving her like, oh yeah, he might also date other people, but he really likes you.
Yeah.
Like there is an element of you either don't know your kid or you're holding something back from Serena. And I would almost like to think he just doesn't know his kids,
But we see he's a smart guy. It picks up on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I just wouldn't go so far as to call it gaslighting. I just would assume it's like almost like maybe he wanted to give her some reassurance, like maybe he does know like my kid does like you more than these other girls. But yeah, you're right. He doesn't address the fact that like, hey, like you guys got to talk it out. I know he's seeing other girls, but like he does feel this way about you. He doesn't frame it in that way. That like I wouldn't call it that gaslighting, but I would call it like, okay, like you're like brushing. Like they're brushing a little stuff under the carpet.
Yeah. You either don't know stuff or you're ignoring.
Yeah.
Blair's scheme seems to have worked because Eleanor sees Cyrus and throws him out of the party.
How did you guys feel about her reaction in terms of like, first of all, did you find it realistic? And then also like, do you think it's an overreaction
It was definitely a bit over dramatic, but it sort of makes sense in the context of she was burned so bad by her first husband hiding stuff from her.
I know what you're kind of saying,
but yes, it was definitely over dramatic.
Yeah, it was definitely it was definitely a 5-minute scene crunched down into a 2-minute 1-minute reaction, which I totally know what.
Well, I actually didn't know. I was curious what you guys thought because I feel like my initial knee-jerk reaction is like, oh, come on, you're not going to have a conversation. But I actually do think that depending on your life experiences, that's not how I would react to that kind of news. But I think some people might that might be just without context deal breaker.
I felt like it was definitely in character for Eleanor.
Yeah. I also have the note that we received the most Wallace Shawn face in this when he looks over at her and he's got the
lips go flip out.
Yeah, and the forehead all crunches down. And
Blair is shocked when Cyndi Lauper shows up to the party at the bequest of her pal Cyrus. Dorota is also a fan, but Blair grossly conscious and goes after Cyrus. I love Blair and Dorota.
Yeah.
She's all starstruck.
Yeah. Mrs. Lauper. Miss Lauper. She's so great.
Dan is meeting Bart with puppy dog eyes. Confronts Bart about the fire. Even Bart is hopeless to resist those big, earnest brown peepers. He not only admits to starting the fire, but that someone died in said fire. Chuck bursts in to cut his dad off, but too late. The cat is already out of the bag. Bart offers a bribe, which Dan walks away from.
So again, this is where at this point I thought Chuck set this thing up. I thought that Chuck was like, yo, I'm going to catch Dan fucking...
that does make sense. There's an opportunity there where the writers could have done something like that.
So then when he sees him and he's like, Dad, don't say another word. It's I was like, yo, did you set up your dad? And then once you then realize that it was much fucking worse. Because, Chuck does that. Chuck sets up these schemes and they blow up in his face. Yeah, especially in season 1.
So the main reason why I don't think that story is the way they're going is because in the scene with Dan and Rufus, when they're talking about it, Dan mentions he checked the story out and the facts check out.
Yeah, he does say that he did the fact check on it. You're right.
Yeah.
And clearly it did happen.
Yeah. I think even though I find this scene also quite unbelievable that Bart would just let that information go without any
again, I've had that man's death on my conscience.
He just couldn't resist Dan's eyes.
Couldn't resist him.
So dreamy.
I will say though, when Dan when Dan says to him and he's like, what's it gonna cost to make this go away? And Dan's like, I don't want your money. I was like, I've never liked Dan more. And in this moment, because I don't know, the idea of information being more powerful than money.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean, like, I love that. Like, I'm with you. Like, I totally get it. Like, there was a show that I was watching. The show The Blacklist, when it first came out, it's the James Spader show, and the first season of it was fucking awesome, and at least I loved it. And it was just, this guy didn't need money for anything because he just had so much fucking information on so many people that was his whole currency, and it was hot.
It's funny you mentioned James Spader because I've seen him mentioned several times in like multiple threads on Buffy forums over the past like week or two, because like young fans are like just don't get the reference from the pilot episode of James Spader being like a hot guy.
That's so funny because he is. Yeah. Oh my god.
Now he's he's an old guy.
Yeah. Now
like back then, for a minute he was like the sexy Hollywood stud. Sex lies and videotapes and
yeah.
But yeah, there's that line of like in the pilot of Buffy.
Yeah, where she talks about James Spader being a hottie. And
Chuck confronts Dan in the elevator and threatens to destroy Dan if he reveals the info on Bart. Dan claims that this is bigger than him and Chuck, so Chuck resorts to begging.
Yeah, your dad's a murderer. And like, so like, yeah, your family might be kind of fucked, but what about the dude's family that your dad fucking killed? Like,
he doesn't have a name. Seriously, like I was saying earlier, the show is rewriting reality. They're retconning reality. The morals thing here is not to give up Bart here. It's to cover this up and protect the wealthy elite.
Yeah, protect.
That's the moral thing to do, Steve.
Protect Bart and Lily's relationship.
Yeah, and we have the
moral thing.
The pillar of morality, Rufus.
Yeah, Rufus is the pillar of morality. He's telling Dad, you cannot reveal this.
Yeah, you cannot turn in this murderer. You have to withhold this information, which now makes you complicit. Like, Dan is now a felon for not turning him in. Good job. Good parenting, Rufus.
Yes.
Fucking dickhead.
Blair finds Cyrus on the sidewalk, still waiting for his driver to come back from dinner. But Cyrus reveals that he planned everything and proved that he could out-scheme Blair and does it without being vindictive about it. Cyrus receives some high praise from Blair before they return to the party together.
I love your description there of like he like can out-scheme her without being vindictive, because like my note for the scene was I love that Cyrus wins Blair's approval by playing her game his way. I think it's so adorable.
Yeah.
And again, he plays it without being mean like Blair is. He does it in a nice way. He gets her favorite recording artist to come to her birthday party.
Yeah. It was good. It really made me, with the exception of like his blind spot for his child, which I get, but that was really endearing. Yeah. Like, he's a schemer, but he does it in like this fun, nice way.
Yeah, them trailing off at the end too and being like, "You're not what I had in mind." He's like, "Well, you're not what I had in mind." It's like, oh,
yeah. Anybody want a peanut?
Dan sends his story about Charlie Trout and the father that never loved him to Bart, along with the interview tape and an apology note.
I wrote in all caps, "Oh my God, Dan's awful writing would never impress Yale."
Oh, is this when you
I will pause the screen and I read every single word, and I'm just like,
that poor intern.
Don't think so. You named Chuck Bass Charlie Trout, really?
I do think I brought up before we started doing this, that they show that whole story, and you can actually read the Charlie Trout, the first page of the Charlie Trout story. And it took me back to Blair when in the episode where they went to Yale. Mm-hmm. Blair has a letter that she gives to the dean, and the first paragraph is about Blair. and the rest of it is just an H.P. Lovecraft story filling in the rest of the page.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Blair probably would be a fan of H.P.
And would plagiarize.
Serena arrives at Aaron's apartment, who is still with Danielle, and Aaron admits that he likes to date around. Serena storms off. Hopefully this means she found a clue.
What?
Yeah, like I'm not polyamorous. I'm in a monogamous marriage, but I have friends that are polyamorous, and anyone in the polyamory community will tell you this isn't how you do it.
No.
At
least I don't think he is polyamorous.
I don't consider it polyamorous either. I consider him just being like
around.
Not exclusive. We are dating, not like official.
The reason I keep coming back to the term polyamory for him is because his exact words were along the lines of, I like to date more than one person at a time. He doesn't just say, I like to date around. He said, I don't know how they do it in high school.
Yes, so
but I like to date I like to date more than one person.
I mean,
at a time.
far be it from me to consider myself an expert on polyamory, but I believe it really refers to actually like a committed relationship with multiple.
Yeah.
And that's fair. And that might, but isn't he also trying to have maybe not a committed relationship, but a relationship, right? And like,
I mean,
that,
I don't know. I can like see your point for sure. I just don't know if like
I think it's implied that like eventually they would become monogamous.
I do think like he would probably like polyamory, like his character. I think that suits his character, but I get the sense that he's just like, I'm not committing to one person.
I'm sampling. I'm sampling around till I find what I like,
which is fine. If she like,
as long as
she's
she's open about
it, like then they should just like end it.
Yeah, they should really just end it.
Yeah. Well, and I think, you know, and again, no matter no matter the term for what is going on, it all starts with that very first time being like, look, I'm dating more than one person, and if you're interested, then I'll date you too. Because that is the whole, they do mention, even later in the episode, they do say the words open relationship. Blair and Serena, when they're talking to each other, they discuss how Serena she wants to be a hippie girl from the 60s, but she doesn't want, but she could never have, an open relationship. So there were other things that led me to think that this was how he dated. I also feel like it was probably a lazy, maybe not lazy, but ignorant on the writer's part of not knowing of not really knowing the way to bring this subject up.
Yeah, the terminology and like having Aaron clarify with her, clarify for the audience and for her. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, because it's been 3 episodes now of Aaron having other women around and then Serena being like, oh, I thought it was me. Oh, but there's these other women kissing you. And like at any point, and like the last episode, he should have been like, look, I'm not exclusive with you. Boom, there, boom, done.
Also, maybe like don't date her because she's in high school and you are like
15
very
years older
condescending and like, I don't know how you do it in high school. Like, what a line.
He's older than me.
Pretty gross. Rufus is playing guitar in the dark when Jenny enters and agrees to return only if...
Sorry.
Lincoln Hawk's emo face.
Yes.
I feel like this is the origin
the
story.
The basement tapes.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry.
Jenny enters and agrees to return home only if Rufus will sign the incorporation paperwork. Rufus gets all high and mighty and refuses to sign the papers. Jenny, as stubborn as ever, digs in her heels as well. We see Jenny all alone walking down the streets after dark. Poor little orphan Jenny. Looks like she needs a daddy warbuck, but daddy warbucks don't grow on trees. At least trees that grow in Brooklyn.
Another bad one.
Yeah.
Another really bad one. GG.
God, Rufus is such an idiot.
Wrong and strong.
So, I mean, yes, Jenny is wrong to try and emotionally blackmail, but just agree to it and get her back in the house.
Yeah.
Get her back now.
Jenny is diabolical in her attitude, right? And like Jenny is coming in and she is emotionally blackmailing her dad, and like no doubt about it. I also go back to, if you would have supported your kid in their efforts from day fucking one, right now you would be sitting down working out your fucking Rich and Famous contract for your kid.
Yeah.
That
He's so
give her all of her
overacted to the
dreams.
fashion show. It was ridiculous how much he overreacted to that.
Yeah.
But it's not even just the fashion show. It's been every step of the way. He has been putting his fucking foot in the way of everything she's tried to do.
Yeah.
He has been constantly sabotaging his kid's fucking dream. Meanwhile, telling the other one, just keep doing it as long as you don't hurt people.
Yeah.
But no, not you. You're not gonna get it. Like, fuck you, Rufus.
Yeah, I'm so annoyed. Like, I hate Rufus throughout this whole storyline, and like saying like I won't sign my name to his paper, condoning who you've become. It's so harsh, and like he should be proud of his daughter. Like, your daughter is incredibly talented and recognized within like that community, and like you're an artist, Rufus.
Yeah.
You're a musician, and the idea that like he would not, I get being scared. Like, I get being scared for her in terms of like, oh, like you were like, this is like risky in terms of you pursuing this. And,
Guess
like,
what? If she fails, she can still go back to school.
Yeah, exactly.
She can
And
go
like,
back to high school.
and if she just had your support during it, like you guys could figure something out. But like just him, if this was like real life and not a show, like he is like losing his daughter from this. Yeah.
And
maybe forever. Like,
Yeah, several episodes ago, Eleanor calls him on it. Like, if you had all of your shit laid, all of your dreams answered when you were 15, would you have stayed in school?
Yeah.
Like, no.
And we move into the epilogue. Jenny wakes up at the gallery and calls the business manager. She begs for a Sunday meeting. At least she had somewhere to sleep.
Yeah, yeah.
Thankfully, her poor father owns multiple Brooklyn properties.
Yeah.
Chuck in his room when Bart knocks at the door. Because of Dan's story, Bart apologizes for being cold to Chuck all these years. We see that Chuck has a picture of his mother on the nightstand. Bart invites Chuck to the hockey game. I like to see it.
I loved it. I got a little emotional. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I got teary. I got a little Bart bass in my eye watching that. Like, it was...
I don't want Bart to be a cartoon evil villain. I want him to be a cold businessman.
Yeah.
But he should have some art.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, when they were talking, when he said the line, "Every time I look at you," I turn to Rob and I go, "I see her." Because like, but also it's so heart wrenching because it just thinking about that, like losing someone that you love like that, and then every time you see your kid, like you're reminded of them, like that's gotta be really tough for him, and it really makes a really sympathetic side to Bart here, the murderer.
Yeah, I think also much like Blair's scene with Cyrus, where she doesn't have a lot of dialogue, but like her acting like really comes through, and she has like a lot of facial expressions, and just like she conveys emotion really well, and like this change in emotion that like gradually like shifts from one to the other. I think Ed Westwick also does a really nice job in the scene, like starting out kind of like, like defensive, and then like kind of slowly becoming like surprised and like
and warming.
Yeah.
Dan tells Rufus that he killed the Bart story. We also found out that even though Rufus and Jenny are fighting, Jenny still calls Dan to talk to him. And in my opinion, this is further evidence that Dan didn't rat out Jenny last week. We talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Jenny is once again meeting with the manager, who tells her that only the other option is to become an emancipated minor.
Back to the one with Dan, though, where he saved, where Rufus is like, you saved that
family.
Yeah.
Just to really put a period on that sentence of like Rufus just condoning murder to save a family.
Mm-hmm. And that family, as if it's not like their friends. And then of course like Dan is the one to then suggest to Rufus like, save our family.
Yeah.
Like, call Jenny, like let her take the win.
Yeah.
And if you don't agree with her. And it's like,
exactly. Yeah. And Dan is absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a relief. Last time I came on, like, I was very Dan bashing. So, like, even though Dan is unrealistically superhero in this episode, it's, like, kind of nice to be on his side for an episode and, like, be able to be. I don't always hate Dan.
It also brings me to the point where Leif had said that episode 10 tends to be a big Dan and Serena episode, which I always heard you saying a Dan and Serena episode, but it was a Dan and Serena episode. So that was...
Yeah, it did kind of get away from the formula, but I think Aaron is just such a Dan substitute that it still kind of works.
Yeah.
He really is just Diet
Aaron
Dan.
make Dan look good? Is that what's part of what's
He's
happening?
Diet Dan.
Yeah, I think it's what I feel like he does.
Yeah, and he's just Dan, but older and creepier.
Yeah. Yeah. Only twice the age. He's in his 30s.
He's older than Cyrus.
He's Benjamin Buttoning it.
And to the Jenny thing, I completely support emancipation.
Yeah, I mean, I think like it's insane how much emancipation comes up in teen dramas because it's not that easy to get. But
Well,
I loved the idea of it. But I was happy with my family, but I was just like, ooh, what if I could be on my?
I think the reason why it comes up is so many of these actors are emancipated because both and Taylor are emancipated, and I think Leighton might have been as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I guess
Leighton had a crazy childhood.
Yeah. You told me last time I was on. But, like, yeah. So that's, like, good justification. I don't think, like, you disagreeing with Rufus is enough to get you emancipated, but...
Yeah, like, Penn was emancipated, but he still, like, lived with his mom. His mom was still, like, his manager. He just did that so he could work full-time.
Yeah,
I was going to say there are circumstances of emancipation in the entertainment industry that are like that. That it's like... to get them so they don't have to go to school and they can work
because they're not, if they're minors, they can only work a certain amount of hours for SAG
which is probably why we don't see Jenny on every episode.
Yeah. Blair and Serena are having a phone conversation about casual dating. So this is where you were mentioned before about how she's
like
you want to be a 60s hippie, but you're still kind of conventional.
Yeah, I mean this is a whole conversation supporting the idea of them being in an open relationship. Even if it is just for now, it is still, you are sharing him.
Yeah, that's fair. I also even though I was playing devil's advocate earlier with you, I feel like in support of what you're saying, like I also do believe in the idea of like, you don't like when you're dating someone, you shouldn't be thinking about who they will be in the future. Like you should look at like who they are right now. And so like, if you're looking at who he is right now, it's like, he is seeing other women and like that might not ever stop. So I mean, Serena's in high school, still knowing about her, but I feel like don't know no better, but I feel like
I can change him.
Should be like, okay, like he's already shown you time and time again.
So I agree. So he is doing the open. I just think there's a distinction between like polyamory. I don't even think polyamory is like necessarily an open relationship. That's all the time.
No, I think it's usually like
who we need on to talk about this is Andre, who is polyamorous, and is very involved in the like Philadelphia polyamory like community too.
Yeah.
Some people just don't bring us enough information on polyamory. Shit.
Oh my God, I'm like the most monogamous. I don't even like want to think about it. That's not. I don't judge it. I do not judge it. But like for me personally, I'll get upset at a imaginary man in my head.
I'm so monogamous. I only date myself.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah, I can see Shannon throwing her laptop out of a window after a dating game. Cheats on her. Dream Daddy.
Is the only time that Dream Daddy I get to be polyamorous, but like it's like a Mormon polyamorous where it's like it's just me, like you don't get to be it. But that's different.
But that's Dream Daddy.
That's Dream Daddy.
Dream Daddy.
Okay, sorry.
Blair is surprised to find Cyrus at the breakfast table and is even more surprised to find out that he is moving in, effective immediately.
Still laughing. Yeah. I mean, that is like, I don't know. That's a lot. That's a little quick, Cyrus, but I also like follow your heart.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? They're in their 60s or whatever, or 50s.
There's no way. Well, he might be, but I don't think Eleanor is.
I think she at least 50s, I would think.
I think late 40s.
Yeah.
I think around my age,
young
right?
parents.
Like I
think she's significantly older than you.
I think she is older than me. I don't know if she's supposed to be old. I
think she's she's well taken care of.
Yeah, had kids when she was a little bit older,
and she has all the best products.
Yeah.
Stylists
but also like this kind of makes me think of my dad, who like he told me one time he was dating someone, and then like a week later when he introduced us, he was like, "We're getting married." It's like, "Oh, hi, my new stepmom," and then And then another time he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm sort of seeing this woman." Then I'm calling him. He's like, "Yeah, we eloped over the weekend." And it's like, "Oh, the other woman died in between." Yeah, he's not married. He's not polygamous. He's not marrying multiple. But like he and my mom split. This is my dad's fourth wife. Two of his wives died.
Yeah, my grandfather, there was a similar thing. Like he had 3 wives die, and then more marriages.
Some people just can't be alone.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's like, yeah. I mean, like, if I don't know if I don't know if I could keep doing
that. Could you keep?
Oh, you're like, I can't handle that heartbreak. It's like getting a new dog.
I mean, I get that. Yeah, I get what Leif is saying, because I was saying to Robin, like, I don't know if I want something like this again. Like, this is like our marriage is something that is so special to me. I don't think I want that.
I thought you were saying it in terms of like, oh, you serial monogamous. It's like, well, that's not really fair.
Aaron shows up for his date with Serena, who thought they had broken up. Somehow, Aaron's speech about nonconformity works on Serena, who decides to go out on a casual date with Aaron. To prove just how much of a free spirit she is, Serena goes on the date wearing only a jacket and her sleeping gown. Some surprises hit you over the head like a squash racket, and others sneak up when you least are expecting it. And sometimes the biggest surprises are the ones you spring on yourself. Scampering about in a slip is one way to shed old skin, but will embracing free love be as easy as flinging off a pair of Fendi flats? Looks like someone's going barefoot in the park.
Yeah, this one's too long, and but it like the Gossip Girl quotes in general, I think they're ridiculous.
Well, the end of the episode one's always long.
Yeah. This one, but this might be the only like Gossip Girl quote that I don't really like it in reference to Serena and Aaron, but I do really like the quote. Sometimes the biggest surprises are the ones you spring on yourself. I think that's like,
yeah.
I'm like, just like pluck that. I like it and isolated from too much Aaron.
He's so creepy. Like,
yeah.
Like, he's creepy in this scene. Like the going out in the slip. It's like, what is it?
Yeah, what is it? What did it accomplish?
What are you proving?
She just wants to prove how much of a free spirit she is.
Yeah,
but I kind of like the way she says no, but and then I was like, but
why?
But why?
It's because
I mean, yeah,
she doesn't like to admit it, but she is just as concerned about image as Lily is. But it's just she wants a different image than Lily has.
Yeah.
She might be like even not really, because it's not like she's putting these other women down that he's dating, but she might be like kind of like leaning towards like pick me type of girl, where it's like I'm gonna like look at me, I'm the free spirit. Like I bet all those other bitches you date are up.
Yeah, I kind of felt I kind of felt that too, but it was also still like why? Like there are 100 things that she could have worn.
Yeah, I think the reason is like his speech is like, oh, like I know you grew up on the Upper East Side, but like, do you really want that life? Like, I want to do what I want to do, and then she's like, oh yeah, you're right, I am that kind of person. Let me prove it now by going out in my sleep.
Yeah,
but
Blake Lively hadn't shown her quota for skin this episode. It's in her contract. But that is
female power.
I mean, she paid good money for them. Might as well show them off. So that was our episode. Steve, any predictions?
Oh my God, like this Aaron thing is gonna eventually blow up. It is not sustainable.
They're not going to get married? Again?
And at the wedding, someone would come up and kiss Aaron and be like, "Oh, hi," and he'd be like, "Oh, yeah, Serena, I'll catch up with you later," and like walk off. Oh yeah, this is who we are now.
Oh yeah, I have my second wedding now.
Yeah. Oh, I've got another wedding to go to.
I got another wedding at 3 o'clock.
Odd wedding.
Weddings are our thing.
So let's go ahead and get into some segments. We hopped into the Wayback Machine to go visit This Week in Fandom.
Hello there, Peabody here. And this is the Wayback Machine for traveling through time. And this is my boy, Sherman. Speak, Sherman. Hello. Good boy.
The Television Without Pity thread was missing. It was lost to the ether, so I went over to Fan Forum. And they did not like the episode. It was not great overall. It's kind of boring. Sad about no Nate.
Yeah, but we knew Nate wasn't going to be here because he's in the Hamptons.
Yeah,
because he's.
I'm kind of indifferent to it. I know you're a big Nate guy.
I love Nate.
I mean, I love Nate, but he often does not add anything to the story.
No.
So it makes sense that he's not here.
Yeah, I just like good guy Nate when Nate's there and being. And right now, I really feel bad.
Jenny could have used some rescuing this week.
Right, Jenny could really.
I'm glad I didn't come on a Nate and Jenny episode.
Tell us your feelings about Nate and Jenny.
That was last week.
That would have been either the week, like
the last
episodes
2
8
episodes.
and 9 is when he's like I just like I get like I kind of like somebody being like attracted to her pursuing this like art in the way that she is and like doing the gorilla thing and like having like I do like that like piquing somebody's interest. It just shouldn't be Nate. Like wait. Anyway,
I mean, the actor. Remember, the characters are only 2 years apart.
Yeah, it's a sophomore and a senior.
I just like don't. I don't know.
It's definitely weird because the actors' age difference, but in the reality of the show, I have no problem with it.
Yeah, I get her being into him, but like I like just because like he kind of like moves in or whatever, and like it's like he's there, but I just don't. I don't know.
I understand it from Nate's perspective because Nate sees pretty thing. Nate likes pretty thing.
Fair.
And they do have other history of friendship.
Yeah.
And even like somewhat flirty. Like
they have connected in the past.
There was a season 1 thing where they gave a hug and had a very like touching moment. So like there is a history.
I mean, that was definitely.
I think maybe I am like I'm like going off the vibe of like the actors. I might be just like going off.
Yeah,
like, I don't like that.
Oh yeah, so I mean, Chase Crawford was the reason why the story never really happened fully is because Chase Crawford was uncomfortable with it.
That's good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
Good for him. Because
Ed Westwood clearly was not.
He does like look. He is good guy Nate to her, and I do think she deserves a good guy. I just don't. I don't.
And I liked her for Nate too because like all the other women in his life walk all over him.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've convinced me. I was wrong.
No, I totally get it.
I actually take it back.
The visual of it is definitely weird because they changed the actors. But from a storytelling perspective, it's totally. I love Nate and Jenny.
Yeah, I really do from a storytelling.
They were sad about Nate, but mad about no chair.
Oh yeah,
no Chuck and Blair interactions at all.
It's
doesn't happen often.
Yeah, what and like because I'm like now I feel like I'm getting the episodes a little bit out of order, but like can you remind me of the last like interaction that they had?
So in episode 7, Blair like because the whole thing was with Dan and Blair, and like Dan was like giving her advice, and like she was gonna tell him that she loves him. Yeah,
good. That's what I wanted to. That is like the moment for me, that episode and like that scene when she doesn't say it and like they blame Dan for it. Like that's the moment where like I stop being like a chair shipper because it's like this ain't love. Like this isn't how you express love to one another. Like he's not good. it's actually Dan's done you a favor, Blair. So yeah, I get that the fandom was like on them and probably for like they will drag it out and whatever else. But like after that episode, I don't care. But I'm not mad. No chair.
And also, I mean, like there were definitely fans at this point in the forums saying, "Yeah, this is getting boring.
Yeah,
this is going to be another. What did they compare? Which relationship did they compare it to on the OC? Oh, Seth and Summer.
Yeah.
Where just they
actually like said it out loud. I mean, you guys probably already talked about this, but they said it out loud. He's like, yeah, like you know that if we get together, that's the end and not the beginning. And it's like that is the writers being like, you know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why didn't Jenny stop? Yeah. Okay.
And so as we also talked about this, but a lot of people were, why didn't Jenny try and stop Agnes from burning dresses?
Yeah. How could the writers have fixed that, I wonder, since we're fixing their writing today?
Yeah, I mean,
I think maybe like Agnes could have just been waiting there with like the match over the barrel.
Or any amount of like physical struggle, even if like it still goes on.
I mean, they might have tried to shoot that and it just looked really bad because the actresses are not physical actresses. They just aren't good at that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think the only way they could have fixed it would be to just have like Agnes waiting with like the match over the barrel as Jenny walks in.
Oh, that's sinister.
Yeah, which would have been that would have been a powerful scene.
Yeah,
that would have been hey, and like do all of her like I did all of this shit and all that shit, and then just,
that's not a mic drop. That's a match.
So yeah, we normally go to television without pity for us, where Dan is probably the most hated character, but fan forum Jenny is really hated.
Really? I don't like fan forum.
and that becomes more prevalent in fandom,
which is so funny because I think Jenny's attitude towards Rufus at the end was like I said, it's kind of diabolical. Like, I'm done. I'll move in if you fucking sign that shit. But it's also she was backed into a corner. Especially in her perspective, like, I need to get what I'm after, and everyone but my dad is telling me I need to get this. Yeah. So I don't see where the hate comes from.
Yeah, and I think it's still accurate as like an angsty teen with like parents teen girls talk to their parents like that.
Yeah, my theory is one that she actually does act like a teenager, and people just don't like teenagers.
Yeah,
and then two, Jenny beats Blair. And people don't like Blair losing.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm right there with you. Preach. But yeah, that's always been my theory is, people just don't like that she beats Blair.
Yeah. And I think the other one is also true. The fact that she plays a teenager so fucking perfectly.
Yeah.
Because, like, I love I have 3 teenagers, and, like, I've worked with teenagers throughout my entire career, and I love the kids that I've worked with. But I was about to say I love teenagers and just wanted to come out like, no, I love teenagers. Like, that's
not enough.
Not enough.
Oh my
catchphrase.
but my point being that, like, they can also be really fucking angsty, whiny, and annoying.
Yeah,
and teenagers in general will often feel like the whole world is happening to them and not recognize that there's an entire other world that's going on and that things just happen to fucking suck.
Yeah.
Moment,
Being like on the streets of New York City by yourself with a suitcase at that age, and like it's nighttime and your dad just like basically told you
kicked you out for the second time.
Yeah.
So I'm over here laughing at your dangerous catchphrase. I'm just picturing a scene where Cyrus just has he has a very large penis, and he's just like part way in. And this part is like, hold on, wait, not enough.
He whips it out, and his partner's like, not enough. Like, I've had bigger.
Oh man. There seems to be a great amount of concern for the amount of cleavage that Serena is showing as well. So.
What's the concern?
Yeah.
I guess they were saying, like, why are they forcing her to show cleavage?
Oh, as if Lively was not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we know an answer to that?
I'm gonna say she was on board with it just based by her personal style.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, maybe she was against it. I mean, she was much younger then. But...
I guess like you are still portraying a high school student, so
yeah.
I don't know. I show as much cleavage you do.
Yeah.
Don't want ladies.
Yeah. But yeah. So they were attacking Eric Damon, saying like, yeah, why?
Yeah. And how much you want, not what your boss wants.
Yeah.
Power.
Yeah.
Moving on to episode grades.
Okay.
My grade, I have no fucking idea now.
I know.
Yeah.
Glad Leif goes first this week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm erasing my original grade right off the bat.
Can I ask what your original grade was?
Originally was going to be a B.
Okay, mine was originally a B+.
Mine originally was a B.
Okay, but no, it is not.
No.
So, like we said, the directing was not bad. It's not good. So that's like a C.
Mm-hmm.
Directing. The acting, again, there were some good moments.
There were good moments from the great actors.
And some average moments. So I'll give that a B+ on the acting. The A storyline, which I'm going to say was the Jenny storyline, I mostly like, other than the few lazy bits about it. But the B storyline with Blair was kind of boring. And then the C storyline is the one I would have liked to see more of. The Dan, Chuck, and Bart stuff.
Yeah.
And that, because that was really, murder and arson and insurance fraud. That's exciting.
This one also had a D storyline, too. Because there was the Serena Aaron storyline as well.
Yeah.
Like that took so much time.
Yeah.
I feel like that was their tried.
Yeah.
I guess that's probably the C storyline, and the Dan storyline is like the D storyline.
Crazy.
Or I would actually flip the Blair storyline to be the D storyline.
Okay,
Well,
but
if I was writing it, but I think the way they were writing it was the B storyline, because that was the party of the week, was her birthday party.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That is the party of the week.
as we're talking about this, I feel like we should, instead of referring to characters by name, refer to them by letter, like the show. So, like, the B storyline is the A storyline.
Oh, yeah. So, ultimately, I'm going to land at a C.
The straight C,
Yeah.
the whole letter.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. I'm thinking. Okay, so am I next?
Yes, you're up
Okay.
next.
Okay, so I initially B, and my thought process was very similar to yours. Like, nothing special about this episode, but it didn't feel like there was anything bad. I think it's interesting the fandom is simultaneously calling it boring, which yeah, it was, but and then hating Jenny, because Jenny is the most interesting.
Yeah, she's
in my
driving
opinion.
the plot.
Yeah, the dance stuff is interesting, but it's
It's
so
not
unbelievable
Yeah.
that I'm not compelled by it. But the Jenny stuff, I wanted to come on this episode because of her storyline, and because I really, really like her character arc in this season, and it kind of comes to a head in this episode. I hate Aaron. I hate him a lot. He's in this episode a lot. So but now can I just give it pass fail? It passed. I feel like I'm. Oh.
Well, I mean, yeah.
It's I'll give it pass.
I'm just going to call that a C then.
No, it's a C.
Well, and
But I wish I could
It's straight down the
divide.
middle,
I
yeah.
wish I could divide the episode into the parts that I like about it are solid. I think Jenny's story is A line A, other than Agnes, very sudden switch, and then I think the acting is decent, other than those lack of a tussle for the dresses, and then if I could, but then the rest of the writing, it's a C. I give. I'm convinced.
Yep,
You convinced me again.
right down the middle.
yeah. I came into it at a B+ because my initial knee jerk of watching it is
Exciting episode.
Yeah. There's stuff that happens that I really like. I really liked Bart's interaction with Chuck at the end, and I'm a sucker for a good ending. If you can give me a good enough ending to something, I'll forget how terrible the rest of it is. Phantom Menace. That's why I saw it so many times in the theater when it came out, because the ending battles are so cool. Anyway, but I really liked how certain things tied up. I love Wallace Shawn. He's a national treasure, and I loved him in it. And so it brings me to kind of what Leif was doing with his.
Did you know he was coming up?
No idea.
Nice,
I was
nice.
completely blindsided, and it was fantastic. I was so happy to be blindsided by it. It was
What was your reaction?
Not enough.
Not enough. No, I actually turned to Robin and was like, that's Wallace Shawn. That's who Preston and Steve were just talking about. So it's not even necessarily a great reaction for him. But actually, no, I'm wrong. The very first word I said, inconceivable. The very first word I said when I saw him was inconceivable. So I want to start with like the writing. And the writing just wasn't great here. Like she wrote some great episodes, but the writing had all of these weird flaws. Like all of these, we want the story to do this. How do we do it? I don't know. So you have this covering up murder and blowing up in front of the agent that's trying to sign you to a huge fucking fashion deal, and creepy dude that refuses to say that he dates more than one person at a time until he absolutely fucking has to. So you have all of these like really weird things despite there being cool outcomes. And then when you talk about the directing, like when I think of the directing, I always think of the performances a director gets out of someone. And when we talk about the good acting in this episode, where do we get the good acting? We get it from Leighton Meester. We get it from Margaret Collins. We get it from Wallace Shawn. We get it from Taylor Momsen. We get it from the four people, from those three, you know, the three cast members. They are always spectacular. They are always the best actors on the show. So there were no spectacular performances except maybe I think the best directed scene was Bart and Chuck at the end. Mm-hmm. That was a beautiful performance. That was beautifully directed. But I dropped a grade and a half. I went to a C as well, across the board.
It's like a C that I'm.
Or in the hand-holding club.
Yeah. It had so much potential, so much going on for it that I do enjoy from this episode.
Yeah.
The writing really sunk it. Yeah, I agree.
Cut out all the Aaron stuff and flesh out the Dan and Chuck stuff so it's more believable.
Yeah. Yep. Which it's also interesting because they usually only do 3 storylines. Because we were talking about this a couple episodes ago. Someone who had never seen Gossip Girl was on, and he was like, I was amazed that they had these 3 stories going all at the same time, and every one of them came to a conclusion. And every one of them had a rising action, a climax, and an epilogue, and a denouement. And like, and he's right. And then I really realized, like, that's the trademark of this show. They do that all the time.
And that's Josh Schwartz in general, I think. He does that in all his shows.
Yeah, and it's great storytelling. Like, it is probably the thing that makes this show that engaging.
It's great, but it also leads to burnout.
Yeah.
Sure. And especially
they churn through stories too fast.
And
that's another trademark of Josh Schwartz shows.
Oh, is it? Well, that, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. But also, they kind of run through because they run through all these stories in like 3 episodes because of the rule of 3, you know? And, does that mean, are they going to be done with Aaron soon?
That we can only hope.
The next episode is Aaron's 4th. So we should be, right? 4 or is it 3?
I don't know.
Well, so we got 3 episodes of him doing the same thing. Now he can just do something else.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting that like this, like the critique that maybe there was so much going on in this episode that it felt like there was like nothing going on. I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
Yeah.
So moving into Stock Watch. So going up, I had Dan, because in the context of the show, he did the right thing. And he's super master manipulator and got whatever he wanted all episode long. So he went up. Even though I hated him, Aaron went up. Because, he's getting all these good-looking women and they're falling for his every line. So sure, why not? Cyrus, because he out-schemed Blair and he's in a new relationship that he seems to be enjoying. Eleanor, for the same reason, she's got a new beau and seems to be really happy about it, so Eleanor goes up. And Chuck, because he got to have a nice moment with his daddy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Shannon, who you got going up?
I had almost identical to you and wrote down like almost all the same reasons. Aaron, reluctantly. Chuck, relationship with his father is improving. Cyrus, he won He earned Blair's approval. Mama Blair got a good guy. I did not have Dan going up only because, like, even though he did the, like, right thing by the show's standards and, like, he probably does feel, like, good about that, he had this opportunity, like, with this publishing company. Like, he had, like, an opportunity to do something big, and that would have, like, advanced his career in a certain way.
He did get the recommendation letter for Yale that he's been trying to get for the past, like, 4 or 5
the guy he still wrote it for him. Okay.
At the meeting, he hands him a letter.
Okay.
That was the first thing.
Yeah.
I just feel like he sunk an opportunity.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I have him, I don't have him going down. I just, like, have him straight.
Fair.
But all the other ups that you had, I also had. Yeah.
I think I also follow the same checklist. I had Cyrus. Cyrus was the first one I wrote down because Cyrus won. You know, fuck yeah, Cyrus. And then I had Eleanor for the same reason. Eleanor has a relationship and she's happy. I had Aaron reluctantly going up because Aaron is fucking winning.
He got what he wanted.
Yeah. And then I had Chuck and Bart going up because Chuck reestablishing with Bart and then also Bart getting away with literal fucking murder. And then I also had Blair going up because of, I did feel like by the end with Blair and her relationship with Cyrus that, like, I felt like she went up in the end by helping him out.
Yeah, the final scene kept me from having her go up because she was clearly not happy about him moving in right away.
Yeah, I get that. But
Is that it for ups?
I believe so, yes.
All right, so for me, going down, Rufus, 100 times down. Jenny, I had her going down because her dreams are going up in flames, literally. Agnes, because her dreams are also going up in flames, and she's just crazy. Serena, because she's having the wool pulling over her eyes and is, doing something she's clearly uncomfortable with. And then also the big loser of the episode, Mr. Smith's assistant. And she was horrible.
I love the random throw-ins.
And then also I had Blair going down because, like I said, like at the end of the episode, she lost against Cyrus, heads up, and then she was not happy at the end.
That's fair.
And then also the minions because they were just so desperate to lose.
The minions too.
Even moms have boyfriends.
Shannon, who do you have going down?
I actually had Bart going down. That might be like my writer brain, like lizard brain working, but I just feel like the information that he should not have let slip is out there now. And that's just like, it can't be good for him. But I get that, like, better relationship with his son, but, like, I don't know. I hate Chuck.
That's why I kind of had him neutral because he did escape his manslaughter charges and fraud. And
I'm giving him a down for, like, an ominous foreboding. Like, hey, there's a cloud hanging over him now. Jenny, I put down, but with, like, the caveat that, like, it's gotta be rock bottom, girl. Like, you can only go up from here, but, like, you're at rock bottom. You're there.
She was the highest high last episode.
Yeah. And that makes the low feel that much worse.
Yeah.
I also had Agnes going down because, like, she lost her partnership. Like you had an amazing designer that wanted to work with you, and it was, like, in your age and, like, your friend circle. Like, why you crazy?
You did that.
And then
Self-sabotage.
Rufus, big old down. You're losing your daughter, Rufus. Get it the fuck together.
Just agree. Get her back in the house. Come on.
Just agree.
Anyone else?
Blair and Serena, neutral. Blair, Serena, Dan, I had neutral for this episode.
Fair.
Yeah.
Steve?
All right. So I had Serena going down for the same, like, because you're still fucking following this guy around when he's...
And you're clearly uncomfortable about it.
Yeah, you're not happy about it, but you're just doing it to try to prove it.
Yeah.
But she's been doing that for a while, so, like, is it a down or is it just the same?
I mean,
you can keep going down.
Keep going down.
You're right. It's sadder.
I had Agnes and Jenny. I mean, for the same reasons. I had Rufus for being a fucking horrible dad. I also had Dan going down for what you were saying about, like, the missed opportunity. Like, yeah, I know, like, I know that he did the moral lesson of the show, but he also kind of shot himself in the foot and covered up a fucking murder, and is now a felon for knowing this information and not doing anything.
I didn't mention from this week in fan segment, the fans definitely fully bought into that being the moral act. They're like, thank God Dan finally did something right.
Wow, he really has like superhero powers this episode. He like cast a spell on everyone in the show and outside of it.
So I also had the minions going down as a collective for the same reason.
Love that you both thought of minions.
Yeah. But I also have Allison going down. You could have fucking been there for your kid too, but you didn't want to start shit with Rufus.
No, honestly, that was the right decision. You don't want to get in the middle of it.
You're right, but I still wanted. But because I had an opportunity to take a shot at Allison, I took a shot at Allison. It's been a minute.
If you're going to be an absent parent, I don't think you get a say.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
No, that is my going down list.
Okay. Moving on to the best outfits.
But here's the best outfits from the last episode we've seen.
So if I want to give some honor mention to, it's not my winner, but Bart had some very nice, he had like 3 or 4 good suits in this episode.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's going to go to Blair's outfit from the epilogue. It's an Alice and Olivia trellis printed belted dress. I thought it was like very poison ivy coated.
Oh, okay.
It had that like sickly venomous green color.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And like the black tights,
She was dressed great the whole
Yeah.
episode, but yeah.
She also had a very nice Marc Jacobs dress, the like a houndstooth dress, the pinkish one, the magenta.
I liked that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite outfit?
So I felt like there was a correct answer, and it wasn't the dress you mentioned, but it was Blair, and it was her birthday outfit. That was insane. Like, it's not something I would ever wear or could pull off, but for the kind of theme that they maybe had going, it looked like some people were kind of Gatsby dressed. I don't know what the theme was, but like she looked outstanding with the open back and like the deep V, and her hair was like really well done as well. Did want to give a special shout out to, I actually really liked Serena's shirt during her photo shoot, though it's like a sequin baseball tunic. Like it's like got the sleeves like a baseball tee, but it just like looked interesting. I've never seen a tunic like that. And I like Jenny's like punk ass makeup. I like her look. I know she's had it for a few episodes, but I'm on this one. So yeah, I think Blair's outfit was just like
I did really like that, but as we've mentioned in the past, I'm just not a fan of white clothes.
Yeah,
it's grayish. It's like almost like a brownish grayish.
That was whiter than a lot of clothes they were wearing at the white party.
Yeah, there's a lot
I might be misremembering. I just like remember the cut of it and like how she looked in it. I also thought she looked sexy as hell in her bathrobe. Like that black robe when she's talking to her mom in the mirror. I'm like, if you were talking to Chuck right now, I'd be turned on. Riddle me that. I don't know. That's mine.
That's definitely white.
Like I don't agree.
It's
like a cream. It's like a
shimmer. It's a shimmery. It's silk. That's why.
Yeah. I'll just say, oh my, oh hell yes. I also wrote down Blair's party dress. So I'm right there with you. I loved it. But I mean, there's white. That's white, Shannon. Like that. Okay. But yeah, I loved that dress too, and I was like,
I had like a couple of like the outfits this episode were really good, and I had a couple in mind. And then as soon as she walked out, I was like, "Well, there's the correct."
Yeah, I really liked the cut. I just didn't like the color.
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, because you're right. This was a great.
The cut was what episode. Like I wouldn't pull that off. Like that cut is so impressive on her. I don't know. It looks great.
Yeah.
So yeah, Stevie already gave yours. So that is it for some segments. Shannon, thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you.
Do you have anything you would like to plug?
Still is pouring away. No, I don't really. I want to plug this show, so that doesn't really that doesn't work. Tell people about this show. That's my plug.
Maybe we'll have a Patreon soon.
And Dad, thank you for listening to me talk about like inappropriate things. Love you.
Steve, what were the things that you were I didn't realize Shannon's dad was going to be listening. Let's take this opportunity.
Steve, you got anything to plug this week?
If you are in the Lock Haven area around August 19th or 18th and 19th, or 19th and 20th.
Yeah, that's going to be this is going to air on October 21st.
Hey, this past weekend I played a gig up in Lock Haven. So awesome.
Woo! Hope you were there. Nothing from me this week, so we'll just mention the socials. You can find me on Instagram at Hot Capicola. You can find the podcast on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Non-Judging Breakfast Pod, and on Twitter /X at NJBpod. You can also find links to our Discord server and Reddit on our website, nonjudgingbreakfastpod.com.
You can also find my socials. I am Steve.Marchand on pretty much everything, Marchion spelled. And if you want to reach out and get in touch with the podcast, we'd love to hear from you. You can send us an email at nonjudgingbreakfastpod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts, discuss them here on the show, and let us know what you think. Also, while you're listening, take a second to leave us a comment, like us, subscribe to us, and keep on telling your friends that you're listening to this great pod that's talking about Gossip Girl.
And we will be back next week to continue to talk about Gossip Girl for Season 2, Episode 11, The Magnificent Archibalds. The Max episode description reads, "It's Thanksgiving and everyone's battling."
Oh,
holiday episode.
Yay.
And Nate's back, apparently, because
yeah.
He is the title of the episode.
Yeah.
You guys should prepare a Thanksgiving, like, what that you're eating.
We just...
Yeah.
But yes, come back next time. You know you love us.
XOXO.
Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Oh, it seems I'm walking right to your door. My heart's still resting, looking for something more. Are you ever gonna see everything you mean to me? I'm trying really hard to believe. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Never feels right when I'm out here on my own. I left last night and it feels like way too long. Are you ever gonna see everything you mean to me? I'm trying really hard to believe. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Come back to me. Smile and you'll make my life complete. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me with you there. Every time you walk away, run away, you take a piece of me